This week, Inside Sim Racing is brought to you by Ricmotech. Are you considering a Thrustmaster product? If so, you should consider Ricmotech. They are an authorized Thrustmaster dealer. They take support to the next level and offer optional firmware updates, product testing, and support, all free of charge, and will ship worldwide. Check them out at ricmotech.com. Welcome to This Week Inside Sim Racing. I'm Darren Ganji. Alongside me here is John Sable. This is the January 27th edition. Welcome to the show. On today's show, we're going to talk about the RaceRoom Audi R18 LMP1 previews. Also got to do a little test drive in the Nissan 300, I believe, ZX Turbo GTO car.
That sounds about right.
Gonna show and talk about the iRacing video where they explain how everything works on the McLaren MP4-30. F1 2015 had an update on the Xbox One. Kind of went into a time warp there. Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Also going to talk about the iRace for Life 2016 seminar. Going to talk about our 24 hours of Daytona adventure.
Yes.
Going to show off the race cave, man cave, sim racing cave, whatever you want to call it. And we also got the TrakRacer chassis, and we are going to unbox. It's going to be the biggest unboxing we've ever done live. It's a big old box. So also got the poll question, Q&A, and a reminder, the Thrustmaster contest is someone I just saw in chat saying he's hoping he wins tonight. Today is not the day that we announce the winner.
Yes,
that's next week. Contest still goes through the 31st till the end of this month, and you have a chance to win a Thrustmaster TX Leather Edition. And there's a link here in the description on everything you need to know. We're not going to go over the questions again on the show, but basically you got to answer 3 questions. Send us an email to contest@InsideSimRacing.tv, and if you answer those questions correctly and we pick your email at random, you win.
Yeah, that'll be fun to do next week.
It will. Well, we have got almost 900 entries so far.
Wow.
So you have I would say you have a 1 in 900 chance, but I've seen
Wrong
multiple
answers.
No, well that, and I've seen multiple entries from some people.
Oh.
And I'm not going to delete them because we didn't say 1 entry per person. So, hey, if you want to enter multiple times, go for it. Gives you a better chance. Don't overdo it. I mean, if you start flooding that email, account with entries, I'm going to delete a bunch of them. So, anyway, on to the news. First up, we're going to talk about the iRace for Life event that's going to be coming August 27th through the 29th. John and I will both be there this year, and we're really looking forward to it. And we're going to be talking about it pretty much every week here on the show. And it's basically brought to you by us, Inside Sim Racing, and Main Performance PCs. And you can sign up at iraceforlife.org. And again, it's April 27th through the 29th, and it's free, totally free to enter, or to be part of it. And it's going to be taking place in Dallas/Fort Worth, Texas. So some people think that you need to bring your rig to be part of this. And there's a bunch of people that showed up last year that didn't have their rigs. And we're going to have at minimum 5, maybe even up to 7 rigs for people to race in. So if you want to come, and you're not local to Dallas, basically you'll have a place to race. So, and I highly recommend, if you can make it happen, buy yourself a plane ticket or drive if it's not too far of a drive. Get yourself a room, or maybe if you have an RV, drive your RV there.
There you go.
Stay in your RV. And join us for it, man. Free food, so you don't have to worry about food while you're there.
That's always kind of blown my mind. Free food.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
And they basically serve like a continental breakfast, so there's bagels and donuts, that kind of stuff, coffee every morning. A full lunch, so they have catered food come in. like we've had Chick-fil-A and local barbecue and Italian food, all sorts of really cool stuff.
Barbecue.
But yeah, we're gonna have our classes that we have every year. So variety of sim racing classes. White Gooden has committed to coming for sure. David Cater, if you're watching, which I doubt he is, I hope you're getting better, buddy. He's been under the weather, and Scion talked to him recently, and he's supposed to be there.
Okay, good.
So he'll be hopefully doing his oval setup class and probably some kind of racecraft class, some tech classes, and more racing than we've ever done.
Yes.
So I'm going to have, hopefully on next week's show, we're going to have the prize list, our schedule of races and schedule of events, so you guys can see what's going on. But it is worth going just to try to win the grand prize. Last year it was a set of main performance PC pedals. The year before that, I think he gave away a full Obuto Revolution and a PC.
Yeah.
To go with it.
Which is pretty impressive.
I mean, that is a major prize. And then there's prizes for every race. Scion emailed me back today about doing a prize for rig of the event, sim rig of the event.
Nice.
I'd also talked about not just having the top 3 in the races win a prize, that maybe like in the grand finale we do a prize for anybody that finished the race out of the top 3. And randomly draw them. So we'll have like an oval finale and a road race finale. So you don't have to have an iRacing account to race, because those rigs that we have for the general public and for sim racers that show up can use like a generic iRace for Life account. So anyway, if you can come, date again, Martin, is April 27th through the 29th. Go to iRaceForLife.org. Don't have a link. I have a link to last year's recap in the description. So you can check that out, check out what it's all about. But you can bring your wife if you want, or girlfriend, or best friend, whatever.
Kids?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about kids.
What?
Well, yeah, you can bring kids. Gotta
get them going young.
Yeah, it is. I highly recommend coming if you can, because it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be there, probably going to do a live show from there.
Yes.
At least one, maybe even 2.
No, I'm really looking forward to it. Always wanted to go to this, so it's gonna be really, really cool meeting those of you who can make it out there. And even I think in the piece from last year we were just showing, there was a couple people that flew over from Europe.
One guy from Australia and one guy from the UK and one guy from Brazil.
Okay.
So it's 3 international attendees, and then people from all over the country, really, mainly around the Texas, the Dallas, Fort Worth region. But anyway, if you can come, you'll have the time of your life. I guarantee it, as far as sim racing goes. And you'll see some great rigs, and it's just a lot of fun. So next up, RaceRoom.
Yeah, on to some of the news items. And RaceRoom came out with these previews late last week of the Audi R18 LMP1 car. And we first saw a screenshot of this car last May when they did a dev stream, and we hadn't heard anything since, and it looked pretty much done then. But here it is, and I assume it's coming #soon. Right now, RaceRoom has kind of shown off a fair amount of content between Nordschleife and some other VLN cars, and also the cars we're going to get to.
The cars from my glory days.
That's right. The cars from your glory days we're about to get to. But yeah, and also along with this is they're creating 2 different prototype classes. Excuse me. There will be a P1 class with the R18 and a couple of their made-up prototypes, and then a P2 class that includes the Chevrolet Daytona prototype and a couple of the other ones, the Mistral and the Radical SR9, Radical SR9 AER, which I'm not even sure what the difference is between them. But yeah, so that's coming soon.
Looking forward to it. And speaking of looking forward to, I got to take that Nissan 300ZX GTO car for a spin this morning. And this is still work in progress. So this is not final. But this thing was a lot of fun, man. This thing, when the turbo kicks in at about $6-7 grand, the tires break loose. And I gotta say, we're gonna, at the end of showing me driving here, we're going to run some external replays of the car and turn the sound up, crank it up. That's what it was. Was it crank it up on NASCAR?
Crank it up is what they do on NASCAR.
Yeah, so we're gonna crank it up, let you hear how this car sounds, because like the turbo and the wastegate or whatever it is that makes that awesome sound on a turbo, it just sounds incredible. Everybody's saying hello, Charlie. Charlie's barking at nothing as usual. He hears a little crackle outside and he starts barking. Funny thing, someone said that they didn't hear, we can't hear Charlie, so you don't have to worry. You have to talk over him or...
Heard him then.
Yeah, you definitely heard him, didn't you? Who let the dogs out? Yeah, he's... about to bring him down, show you guys how much bigger he's getting. Anyway, this car was a lot of fun. I was driving it here at the Indianapolis GP course. And again, this is work in progress. They're still working on the Get Real physics. And they said the sounds are done though. And you heard me when I was driving it.
Oh yeah, it sounds, I mean, we talk about it every time. RaceRoom just has amazing sounds.
Yeah, somebody said, can you believe I'm using the 599 rim with no gloves? That's me driving. I don't have gloves like John's fancy red or orange and black gloves. But anyway, yeah, this car, I'm really looking forward to this and the other GTO car. We're going to forward it a little bit here, get to the...
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, I think so. Just don't go too far. So we get to the crank it up version here.
Yep.
Because I really want you guys to hear this. Okay, let's let it go. So, what do you guys think? Would love to hear your comments on how that car sounds. It sounds pretty freaking awesome.
Also looks great.
It does. The car model, it brings me back to my glory days. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to that content being live. And thanks to JF at Sector 3 for letting us take that for a quick spin this morning. And again, I'm really looking forward to that coming out.
Yes, that and also the Mustang is coming out from the GT. I think that was was that it? I don't remember.
GTO class.
That was a GTO class car. Yeah.
Yes. Something they told me too was that those cars are from a variety of years, so they're working on balance of performance to make them all fairly equal. So
yeah.
They're not going to be exactly like the way they were back in the. I think it was early 90s were all of those cars.
Well, it was...
Mid to, or early to mid 90s.
Well, the Mustang was like mid 85, 86.
Oh, okay.
And then the Audi was like 87, 88, and then Nissan was early 90s. So you're right. They are kind of all, kind of a generation of the top running car in that series.
Yes. So they're going to balance out the power. So if you're racing against one of those cars, and you're in one of those cars, it should be a pretty close race.
Yep.
So anyway... What do we got next? iRacing MP4-30 video that came out this week.
Yeah, so you guys may remember we got an early look at the McLaren-Honda MP4-30 F1 car. And what, honestly, when we tested it, there was a whole bunch of settings that we really didn't know what to do with. It was, as Charlie goes crazy, because I mean, the big technologies in this car is the ERS system, energy recovery system, and then DRS. DRS is really simple, press a button. But the ERS recovery system we didn't really understand. So iRacing came out with this video here that does a really nice job of explaining how it works. And I didn't realize all the different settings that you could do with ERS in terms of harvesting, how you can harvest. You can have it harvest really hard in the braking zone, but that locks up your rear wheels only, which can cause you to get loose and possibly spin. Or if that's too much, then you can do less of it. You can put it on an automatic mode and just let it make the ideal harvesting for your lap, or you can control it manually per corner. So there's a lot of different settings here, and I'm glad that iRacing finally came out and explained it.
Yeah, and I was, so I'm wondering, can you deploy ERS on the fly or change those settings on the fly?
You can't, I believe you can't deploy. There isn't like a button per se, but it just controls. So that's the actual use of the energy is automatic, but the harvesting you have control over.
Okay.
So it's interesting. So.
And you can use DRS. It talks about DRS.
Yeah,
as
it's all
well.
about DRS, and DRS is pretty simple. You know, press a button, flap opens when you're within a second of another car. So nothing too crazy there, but it was good to finally hear a good explanation of the ERS. Obviously, we're running this video without sound. If you guys are interested in that car and want to learn more about it, I'd say go over to iRacing YouTube page. They have this video, but it was definitely very informative.
Yes, it was very cool. So, when I was watching that video, I think this was my opinion, and tell me what you think, John. I think Chris Lurch looks a lot like Mike Myers, and that's not a perfect. This isn't a perfect picture to show, but first thing I thought of when I saw Chris Lurch, I'm like, he looks like Mike Myers.
No, the funny thing is you brought it up to me yesterday, and I was like, I don't really remember, but okay. I think at this point we're a little too maybe brothers.
Yeah, they definitely look related.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Chris Lurch looks a little bit like Mike Myers? You know what we were going to do is do an image, superimpose Chris Lurch's face on like some Wayne's World hair or Austin Powers. Austin Powers is a little harder because he wears...
He got those glasses. Got to get the glasses cut out.
Yeah, so anyway, what do you guys think? Does Chris look like Mike Myers? Almost got one comment. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think they're like doppelganger. I don't think they're like twins.
Yeah.
But they look like they could be related, like first cousins or maybe even brothers.
Well, welcome Chris to being on camera. 'Cause I don't think we've seen him on a iRacing piece before.
That's the first time I've seen him.
iRacing has a lot of new faces, so light grilling.
Yeah, welcome to sim racing. Welcome to the world of sim racing, Chris. I wonder if he's going to see that. I think Tony Gardner watches, so I'm sure if somebody at the iRacing offices sees that.
If someone sees that, print off that still image and go put it on in his cubicle. Oh, that'd be funny.
So, someone says I look like Kevin Schwantz. Isn't he like a GP?
I don't know who he is, to be honest.
Racer? You know, people have said I look like Eddie Cheever. I've heard.
Okay, yeah.
As I've gotten older,
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like I think he looks like Chris Evans, the actor. Not the Top Gear guy.
Yeah.
Captain America. I get through my whole life I've looked like somebody. Somebody always says, "No, I haven't heard the Kevin Schwantz one." The unknown son of Michael Douglas. Hey, I like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So anyway, on to more news. No more doppelganger stuff.
I like someone. No, they don't look alike. Okay, next up, something kind of snuck in today. F1 2015 came out with a patch for the consoles, which part of the news of this is kind of thought that Codemasters was done updating it back in the fall. But I'm kind of thinking now back that maybe it was just done on the PC and not fully done for the console. But anyway, big update for the Xbox. A lot of it is updating the car models and livery to the second half of the season, which that's what was already done on the PC and I believe the PS4. And then, I mean, you can see a whole bunch of different bug fixes, essentially, multiplayer fixes.
Added a strict corner cutting rules, which was good because I did a Mexico video and was cutting the crap out of the course.
Yeah, I'd always
got away with it.
Cutting the course in Australia is always all over the place. You have that left-right section towards the end of the lap, and it would just sometimes it would let you cut, sometimes it wouldn't. So here's the PS4. PS4 is mostly fixes. I think it was really only the Xbox One version that was really lacking behind. the mid-season upgrades to the cars and whatnot.
Yeah, the Xbox One list of fixes is huge, and
Yes.
the PS4 is like, they fixed like 7 or 8 things. All fixes increased the severity of the strict rules, fixed a crash that would sometimes occur, fixed a bug, fixed an issue. So, it's great to see, and I say this all the time when it's a console title. It's great to see them continuing to support, an F1, F1 2015, which you got to assume they are deep into 2016.
Yes.
With the 2016 coming up fairly soon. What does it start in March or April?
March.
So,
and we'll see when they're planning on releasing 2016, because
usually happens after the season.
Because 2014 was like an October release. Then they moved up 2015 to I think they were shooting for June and ended up coming up in July.
It was because of the transition to the new generation, current generation consoles.
Yeah, so now I wonder if they're going to stick to trying to come out in the middle of the season, the summer, which is always better. I always kind of hated when you have a license that's trying to follow the real world, whether it's F1, NASCAR, whatever, and it comes out at the very end of the season. Because it's almost all obsolete.
Yeah, and then you're like, I guess I'll drive this, and then you're driving it as the next season's approaching.
Yeah, because one of the biggest attractions to those type of titles is that you want to race along at home with the season.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I used to do, I used huge NASCAR race in 2003, and where the Cup guys were at, I raced Daytona, Phoenix, whatever the schedule was, I raced alongside with them every week, racing as AI drivers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same idea, so it's better when they get these out earlier.
And a lot of people like to do that. We have a debate going on who the best ever Formula One driver was. Schumacher, Senna. I'd say they both rank right up there.
They're both right up there. That's a tough one.
Would have been interesting to see how Senna would have done if he didn't pass.
It would have been, yes.
As he grew older, to see if he would have kept as sharp. And he was starting to not be as strong because of that car. He switched over to the...
Yeah, the last couple of years in McLaren weren't very good. And the first year in the Williams was a bit of a struggle because they didn't have the adjustable shocks, ride height adjustments anymore.
Right.
So, and then about that 94 there when he was killed, that's when Schumacher started coming in.
Yep.
So that transition, how...
It would have been great to see
battle.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if Senna was, if that car got up to snuff, because they were thinking that I think Schumacher was in the Benetton.
Yeah, the Benetton was on its way up.
Yeah.
But even that crash in that race, Senna started on pole that week in Imola and was leading the race when it happened.
Yep.
So that was only the 4th race of the year. So they were getting there. So no, it would have been interesting.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yep.
So, poll question from last week, all in on VR. We had quite a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Participation,
yeah. Old man brain fart there. Anyway, quite a bit of participation there. Results, 25% said yes, they were all in on VR or Oculus, Vive, whatever it's going to be. 15% said no. I was part of that 15%. And 59% said wait and see.
And that was me.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with the bat?
What am I going to do with, wait and see, I'm in no rush.
So anyway, did we get a poll going for this week? Or?
Yes, and going back to this week, whoops, let me see if I can run everything right. This week the question is, endurance sim racing, love it or hate it? And as we're going to get to in a second, we ran the iRacing Daytona 24-hour race this past weekend, and we love team racing.
I think it's the best form of sim racing there is. So anyway, jumping on the poll, guys, while we're live here, would like to see if that, if we get some more participation there before we wrap things up today.
Yep, link is in the description.
Yes. So yeah, join us for that poll. But it was great to see all the participation last week. And not only did we get people answering the poll, but then there was people replying in the comments too.
Yeah, and the comments were they were all over the place, from people saying, absolutely, this is the best thing ever. Other people saying, I kind of like my monitors, I don't really care for the resolution. Other people saying, health issues. There's health concerns with things going on with their eyes that make them see double and whatnot. And that wearing a headset makes it worse. And then there's also, then there's the pro side saying that now they're using VR to make to make improvements to some vision issues. So it was all over the board.
Well, so I tested the DK2, and you could, from what I remember, it's probably been over a year since I tried it. You could adjust the lenses.
Almost like a focus setting.
From what I remember, yeah, you could adjust them to an extent. Now I'm curious. My eyes are starting to, talk about old man here. I had to get glasses in the last couple weeks, and I'm curious how that is going to affect me now, and if you could adjust it, because I like playing Star Wars Battlefront. I hadn't been playing with my glasses, and I played for the first time the other night with my glasses. Like, whoa! Wow, I can really see guys way out there now, and I'm like trying to snipe or do some long distance stuff. So I didn't wear them for the 24 hours of Daytona. So for sim racing, I don't really need them. But anyway, I'm curious. I do recall there being some kind of focal adjustment on those.
Yeah, what I'm kind of curious about VR, and I've heard they figured this out, but I wear glasses when pretty much my eyes can't handle contacts anymore, and how that all works, putting that headset over top of glasses.
Yeah.
Because some people, especially these days, there's a lot of very popular, very big glasses, and getting all that over and being comfortable. Not really for me, glasses. It really hurts when I have like headsets on and it presses against the side of my head.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I'm kind of wondering how all that goes. So again, something to try out. I mean, hey, maybe someone at iRace for Life will have one.
Avenja, he uses his glasses while on the Rift.
Okay.
So.
Yeah,
cool.
I heard they're supposed to be able to do that, so I'm interested in trying. Like I said, maybe iRace for Life, someone will have a VR headset there.
Yeah, somebody won one there last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, somebody, we had one to give away, from what I recall. Anyway, go to the iRace for Life seminar. There's great prizes.
Well, see, that's one thing I forgot. That's one thing I forgot to mention about that is I'm always kind of blown away by how much stuff is given away.
Some great prizes.
There's a lot of prizes.
Yeah, besides that top prize, we're going to have Thrustmaster stuff to give away this year. SimVibe licenses. The guy that owns iRace or iAnalyze Racing.
Yep.
He's going to be there. I think he's going to be setting up a rig. He'll be giving away licenses for that. Usually iRacing credits. So yeah, there's some great giveaways, and basically, to everybody not everybody, top 3 finishers in the events. I talked to Simon about doing some trophies this year. I thought that'd be kind of cool. So anyway, yeah, come to the iRace for Life seminar. Check out our recap from last year in the description here.
Comments. Mark McQuillan, Coulthard's chin created too much drag. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so we're done with the poll. On to Daytona 24 hours. So ran that over the weekend.
Yep.
And before I roll, just a couple minutes of footage from us driving. We, after last week's show, had a bunch of people come out with us and do a practice session.
That was a lot of fun.
So
Thank you guys for joining us for that. That was really cool to get on track with you guys. We'll definitely be doing more stuff like that in the future. So again, that was really cool. It was great to be out there with a lot of our viewers and doing it right after the show. That was fun.
That worked out well. And hopefully, I like to eventually get to a point, maybe do it once a month, and then also do it where maybe we run a quick race.
Yes.
Or something.
That would be fun.
And then we can, we can film it or capture it, and maybe we can show it on the following week's show. Because some people asked about, we're going to show any footage of that here, but we were just practicing.
Yep.
So wasn't that thrilling to watch, but it was fun having you guys in there and talking with everyone.
For sure, it was cool. It was cool just to interact with everybody and talk shop a little bit, and yeah, I was going to go back to iRace for Life, but that's one of the fun things about iRace for Life, though. It's talking shop.
It is.
Talking about people's you can see a bunch of people's rigs. Anyway, I'm not going to get on that again. So 24-hour race recap, and this isn't going to be our full recap. We're going to do a documentary-style piece that talks about how our race went and what we did. So this is me driving.
This is you passing to get into 5th place.
Yeah, that was Gale Force Racing. I had a great battle with them during the night. So backing up a little bit, we started on the outside of the pole in the 2nd split, which I don't understand how we didn't get the top split based on Bruno and Fabio's iRating. But anyway, I'm honestly now looking back, probably best that we weren't in that top split. I don't think we would have. Our issues were our own fault, except for the last wreck. So started on the outside of the pole. Bruno ran really well at the beginning of the race. Was in I think sitting in third for a good portion of that. Handed it off to his brother Fabio, who on his first pit stop, not his first time coming out of the pits, but I think his second time coming out of the pits on cold tires, spun it, backed it into the wall, and had to tow. I think he had to tow. Bottom line is, we lost 3 laps, down in 17th. I think we even dropped to 18th at one point.
Yes.
And then I was almost to the point where it's like, do we really want to continue? And in my head.
Yeah.
And then I was the last driver to get in the car, and as we continued on, we started climbing the ladder. This is John driving in the back, by the way. So we just started climbing the standings, and then by the time I got out of the car for the last time, you know, between what Bruno and Fabio did, Scott Holmes, who drove with us as well, and then you and I pretty much handled the rest of the middle of the race and handed it off to Bruno and Fabio with about 4.5 to go. We were up to 5th place.
Yep.
Which was really cool. So, anyway, it was a lot of fun, and yes, and we were racing with Scott McLaughlin, who's V8 supercar driver. He was on the pole in our. He
was on the pole, and like we were talking about, he was probably the only guy out there who was above us as far as like lap times you were running and lap times that Bruno were running.
No, Bruno I'd say could have given him a run.
Was he giving him a run?
Yeah, lap time wise, Bruno was definitely as fast as him. I came out of the pits one time right behind him and tried to hold on to him, and I did for a couple laps. I was able to hold on to his draft. Ran a 38, a 138, and then we got into some traffic, and I swear 2 or 3 laps later, I couldn't even see him anymore.
Wow.
He was gone. So he was really fast. It's great to see a real-world driver taking this so seriously and just running alien lap times. But yeah, I felt that I was pretty much as fast as just about any other driver out there. My last stint, I ran against the leader, and I ghosted that guy for 15 laps.
Yeah, no, you were just as fast.
And gave him a run for his money. And but it was, you know, I don't think there's any better form of sim racing. It is just racing with your friends, your comrades, and you know, having to protect that car to hand it off to those guys, and then talking about strategies over the night. And I mean, I think it's the most realistic form of sim racing there is, and it really adds another level of intensity.
Absolutely.
And so you were wearing your Fitbit thing.
I was wearing my Fitbit.
And why don't you tell them about what your heart rate got to when you got in the car?
Yeah, I think my last stint, which was about midnight Saturday, I have a low resting heart rate. I guess I'm normally around 65, which I guess is low. I don't know anything about it. But I was up to over 150. I think about 160. So and you'll see in the piece we do. You know, there were definitely tense moments. But yeah, no, you get nervous. You know, you get nervous not to mess up for your teammates. You get nervous in that I was really. Just the race itself, you know, those times I was really pressing. We were really trying to get in the 5th spot at that time. I don't think we ever said where we ended up, but you can watch. Like I said, we'll have a piece coming out with the whole race. Got to leave a little bit to the surprise. Unless you follow us on Twitter or Facebook, then you know already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pressure-packed situation. You know, I was only the first stint. I was wearing jeans and everything, and I was sweating.
Oh,
I was after that I wore shorts. Even though it was pretty cool down here.
Yeah, every stint I was sweating, and matter of fact, too. I mean, it's funny. I saw Holly Carr. By the way, I remember your name, Holly Carr, Doug Holly. He says he ran 250 laps. I only ran 169 spread out, but I gotta say, between running the AccuForce and the Club Sport V3 pedals with the Elator brake mod.
Yes.
Man, I was spent. You know, as a matter of fact, John and I alternated the last 3 stints from our point, and then we handed it off to the Ducarmo brothers who are in Brazil. They're 6 hours ahead of us. So basically we ran till about 1 a.m. our time. maybe a little bit earlier, between 12:30 and 1 a.m. our time, and then handed it off to them, which was 6:37 in the morning.
Yep.
So basically, there was 3 stints left for us to do, and we were going back and forth between who should run it. And John wanted me to run it, and I wanted John to run it because I was just out of gas for the most part. But then I got into that last stint and came out right with the leader. Mm-hmm. And he pushed me 3 wide, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pressure this guy now.
Yep.
I'm gonna show him that he shouldn't have pushed that 3 wide on me, and that I'm gonna run with him. And I ended up running with 15 laps. I forgot how sore I was at that point. Adrenaline just took over, and anyway, it was it is a lot of fun. If you guys haven't run in an endurance race, speaking of which, Sebring 12 Hours is coming up in March. And we're going to field at least 2 cars, maybe even 3. So if you guys want to join in on the ISR TV team, we'll probably post something in the forums as that race approaches. But we'd like some of you guys to join us for that race and fill out some of those other cars so we can, have more representation for ISR TV and just and have even more camaraderie going on with more drivers. I think that'd be fun.
Yep. No, that is the end goal. Want a whole bunch of ISR TV cars out there.
Yep. So enough about the 24. We're gonna have a full recap coming up. John's working on that. Hopefully close to the end of the month, or probably early next month it'll be out.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that.
Next up, sim room.
Yes. Get a lot of questions about the sim room. I was talking about having a camera to pan around, but we just decided just to get some shots of the sim room. And you took some pictures and posted them on Facebook this week of our new shelves. So anyway, this is sim room starting from my rig there in the corner. These are our 2 middle rigs, console rigs with GT Omegas, or GT Ultimates, sorry, next level GT Ultimates. There's the bat, the infamous bat. John's sitting there getting prepped for the show today. So there's our 4 meg rigs. We actually had a 5th rig in here. We were talking about that last week, but we don't. We actually moved that out of the room. It used to be sitting right behind my rig there. So now on to our new. There's John next. This is from the other side of the room. So that's starting with the bat coming the other direction.
My workstation / simulator.
Yeah. So those 2 in the middle are really our. You can see our little console tower, the Xbox One there. So our 2 are really more console rigs, but we actually plug in PCs to that. And there's my rig again from right behind it. Used to call it Frankenrig, but it's not so much of a Frankenrig anymore.
No, it's pretty well sorted.
Actually, you're going to be taking that thing over. So now here's our shelving that we put up last week. John suggested we get some shelves because we had all this stuff you're seeing on these shelves was either on the floor here in the studio or in a small closet right to the left of where you're seeing right now. And so it was very unorganized. So you're seeing some of our camera gear. Those are my old monitors, some pedals up there. So anyway, and this is a shot I took after John passed out after the 24 Hours of Daytona.
It was a long race, and sometimes you just gotta catch up on sleep.
John, it looks like you just you almost completely collapsed after that.
Yeah, it was exhausting. Like I said, I was working on my heart attack, and of course I was wearing the exact same clothes that I'm wearing today, last weekend.
I know that's I mean, you haven't changed since that day.
No, I haven't.
Or showered.
No, not at all. This is come on. We plan our bits out.
Yeah. Yes, that is a Logitech K400, and we have 3 of them here in the room. Actually, here's one right here. That's this keyboard right here, which is awesome for sim racing, in my opinion, for having with a rig.
I got mine years ago.
Yeah, because it's got a touchpad here, and you don't have to have a mouse on that particular rig. I mean, unless you're doing some first-person shooting gaming or whatever. You can plug in a mouse as well, but man, I love that. And we're not sponsored by them, but they're fairly cheap too, like under $40.
Yeah, it was like $30.
Yeah, and great to have for your sim.
I will say I do constantly look to see if they have an updated version of this because, as much as I love this trackpad is kind of like meh.
Yeah,
I'm always hopeful that they'll come out with a really good one. But no, just as far as being light and stuff, works great.
Yeah, it does. So anyway, there is the sim room, man cave, sim racing cave, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully you've enjoyed a look at that. that electric bill. Actually, you know what? Electricity's pretty cheap up here in Spokane because we have a river running right through, and they do hydro electricity through the dam. So electricity's pretty cheap here.
I mean, you are right though. If you are in a place where it's more expensive, this would be pricey.
Keeping it all up and running, yeah, it's not cheap. So what do we got next? TrakRacer.
TrakRacer. So, like Darren alluded to earlier, we have a TrakRacer simulator right here.
Yep.
And we're going to do a live unboxing.
Yes.
And what we have to do, though, because of the size, we have to adjust the camera and whatnot. So, in the meantime, going to show them a little, I don't know, preview video of the chassis and show you that, and then we'll come back and unbox it.
Well, real quick, too, this is the RS8. It's out of Australia. Australian dollars, it's $7.99 or $5.75 here in the U.S. And I think on the Australian site it says that it can't ship here, but I think they have a U.S. distributor coming
yeah, I
into play.
was playing with the website and it said it couldn't ship, but yeah, hopefully shipping is always the hardest thing with these things.
Yep. So that being said, here's the preview video. I'm going to go behind the camera. John is going to go do the unboxing, and you guys are going to see what this thing's like. We have not taken it out yet, so bear with us.
We'll see how this goes.
Good luck, John.
And we're back, and Darren, the camera looks great.
Thank you.
It's like you know what you're doing.
I try.
So, as you can see, a very large box from, this come from Australia?
You know what? Good question. The label should be still on it.
I guess I'll look in a minute. Let's see here. So,
Looks like the seat's up on top.
seats on top. Remember, kids, lift with jerky motions. And I'm really curious about the seat because it looks pretty cool in the photos. And as you saw in that little video, it's very light.
Looks pretty sweet. I think it looks pretty racy.
Yeah, no, they said it's a racing seat, which, well, it's a plastic back, so it's not a real race car. But no, it's a good looking seat. There's a view of that. I like the angle here, even though this is a locked angle. So that will be not a lot of adjustment there, but
I like the color. I like the color combo too. The
Looks-
red stripe.
yeah, no, looks really nice, and it got these pads can move, so
Lumbar support
that's right. So no, very cool.
for those high G corners.
That's right. But yeah, that's light if I'm able to lift that with one arm. Let's see. So now we have.
Don't hurt yourself.
I might. So let's see. We got
There
a
you go.
box. A box, and it's kind of pinned back by.
So it's an inner box. So it looks like it's packaged really well.
Yeah, so this packaged really well. And if I can just get this up.
Just what we need, more packaging material.
Yeah, we didn't need that box anyway. So, this looks kind of like a shifter mount.
That's exactly what it looks like.
So, that's, and here is, let me try to not lift my back.
Whoa!
Well, if that doesn't work, we know where we broke it at. Actually, I think that was the adjustment.
Good thing you didn't pop yourself in the face with that, man. That was close.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Too bad we didn't have like a slow-mo replay of that. Careful now. Let me know if you need help. I can pop over there.
Well, the box just doesn't fit, so. Let's see. Pedals? Maybe?
Yeah.
Not entirely sure, to be honest. I'd have to go back and
I'd say it looks more like a pedal deck.
look at the video.
Looks pretty beefy.
It is very beefy. This part is actually very heavy. Ugh. So, as I get stuck in my mic.
What's that little book right there?
This
A little toolkit?
is a little toolkit, it looks like.
I wonder if that actually comes with it or somebody accidentally packed it in there.
You know, well, it kind of gives me the impression, I don't know. Well, if that's what this comes with, or maybe it's something they tossed in for us, but I don't know. So that's, and this is the base.
For the seat.
For the seat, and it is very heavy.
Looks like, I was going to say, it reminds me of the R seat.
Yeah.
RS1 with the tubes.
I'm trying to see where I pulled the adjustment handle out of. I'm sure we can put it back.
Great, Johnny. Broke it already.
I broke it already. They have to send us a new one from Australia. So that, and then, let's see. Oh, this one I'm really curious is. This is the wheel deck. And this had a lot of adjustment and hinge points here. So I'm really curious to see what this is like. So it's heavy. That is very heavy duty.
You can tell John's flexing his muscles. The musketeer. Showing off his buff arms.
I gotta use all I got, which isn't much. Okay, there's that troublesome internal box. Troublesome in the fact that it was packed really well, which is definitely the better way to go. Foam. And then, actually, here's the pedal deck.
So I wonder what that one was.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Interesting.
So there it is. I mean, this is heavy duty. I mean, I expect this to be very stable. Pre-drilled, and looks to be kind of your standard Logitech Thrustmaster Fanatic, based off of what I remember. So, let's see if it's... No, just a very heavy duty base here.
Cool.
So, yep. Nope. I think this will be. We'll get this built up now, pretty soon, obviously, and test her out.
Sounds good. Back to the news desk.
Back to the news desk. As we try to make as smooth a transition as possible. The Q&A.
Yeah, sorry about the jiggling camera here. Just trying to get the shot back in place. Bam.
Oh, man. That was pretty sporty, guys, not going to lie. Besides me breaking it.
Yeah, what'd you guys think about that? Little live John the Musculateer.
Musculateer. Oh, okay, yes. We didn't get the TV stand with it.
No.
Which we're hoping
Is there
for.
instructions in there?
I did.
There goes the tools.
There goes the tools. I did not see a set. There may be in that box I pulled out, but I didn't see any.
Somebody's saying maybe that's for the butt kicker, that plate. For a butt kicker. Visa mount. We're going to figure it out for you guys.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. I mean, like I said, we literally just unboxed it. But
Yep.
no, that was kind of an odd plate, because that was really large.
Yes, it was.
I am heavy breathing now. Let's see what my heart rate is. Only 78.
Check your pulse. Someone just asked.
That's not bad.
So how about some Q&A, guys? Let's get some questions going. I think you already have a few.
I already have a couple. Let me make it so I can actually read them.
Just tip the box over and shovel it out.
I wish, between the neck for the wheel deck and then that box, they had it pinned in there.
John need a real knife. That was a freaking box cutter. Why would?
Yeah, that's a box cutter. It's fine. Besides me just not using a knife. Let's see. Someone. Well, it's a good question and not fully sure. Reno Colcative. Sorry. How to make Loeb Rally demo to work on AccuForce. Can't set Axis 4 wheel.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean,
I had wasn't the demo, it was the full version of Sebastian Loeb. By the way,
oh yeah.
in the version that we have, you can launch it in a bunch of different languages, and we launched it in English American, and they call him Sebastian Loeb.
Yes.
So someone in our video that I did last week said it was Loeb. And that may be how he pronounces it in his native tongue, but here, the way that's spelled, it's Loeb. So anyway, the video that I did on it was off of my main PC, but I could not. I had the AccuForce plugged in with the Club Sport pedals, and I couldn't even get the keyboard to scroll. Something was so messed up. So then I stretched an HDMI cable and USB cable for the Thrustmaster, booted up just fine. So running it with an AccuForce, I don't know if that's going to be happening. Milestone's never been the best at controller support. So anyway, yeah, I don't think that's happening with the AccuForce, unfortunately. That would breathe some more life into that title. We're going to be doing a review of that soon, by the way. Some people were complaining about the fact that I did that test drive, no commentary, which, by the way, I got another one coming up. But we're waiting to give our opinion on it for our full review.
Yep. Oh, and before I even get this question, 'cause I saw, and I posted it in the in the text while we were watching the clip from Daytona 24. I'm using on my phone that Fast Dash app, I believe is called, and it's at swatterco.com. It's just a free app. I mean, it has kind of an annoying ad on it, but I don't really notice it. And even though I have Z1 dashboard, I haven't set it up though since I went over to the SSD and updated everything.
So you didn't have it running for the 24?
No, I didn't get it set up for 24. And I mean to, because what I've used it I've liked, but I kind of just always go back to that Fast Dash app, and it's just, I like the layout of it, and it works. It's pretty responsive in terms of the gear shift lights, because it's not exactly a one-to-one. It's got to send information. It's using a wireless network to stream that information to your phone. But overall, I think it works really well, and it has my speed, my RPMs, gear. It has my fuel, which is the biggest thing that I care about and use it for. How much fuel I have left, how many estimated laps I have left. So that's what I really used it for. So I tend to go back to it. I was running the Thrustmaster T300 wheel for the race with the 599 rim. Saw someone else ask that too. And I have this little clip that I bought off Amazon for like a couple bucks.
That was one of the questions that I just pulled over.
Oh, perfect.
So a question on John's rig. He has a phone mounted in the steering wheel. How did you mount it?
Yeah, I wish,
That was Joe McDonald. Thanks for that question.
I'll try to look it up and put the link in it, but it was just on Amazon. It was like $3. And it's a little clip, and it can hold smaller phones. Like I have an iPhone 5, and it can definitely hold that. If you have a giant phone, like even the iPhone 6 or one of the newer Samsungs, I don't think it can hold it, but it works really well. So I tend to keep going back to it, and it's free. So I think it's something that's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, there's some great dash apps out there for the PC. Dash Meter Pro.
Yep.
Some great questions coming in. I'm just getting them all in place. Sorry if we missed your question. If we miss it, ask again. Don't overload the chat server, but
I have a question for you. You want me to ask? So back when we were looking at Daytona as well, Scorpion 2 asked Darren, what is the field of view like? I don't know if he's wondering what settings you're running.
I basically use the render each screen separately in iRacing, and then use the field of view calculator, entered all my measurements. That's the word I'm looking for. Screen width, bezel, distance, eye distance, and just went with that. I think I might have adjusted it a little bit from there, but anyway, that's how I use it. And that field of view was great for me. Hey, Paul and Darren.
Paul, that's a new
You're
one.
Paul, William,
I know.
John,
I mean,
Musketeer.
I guess I could be called worse things.
Big hello from Liverpool. And by the way, Fran, it's John. United Kingdom. Do you watch soccer? You know what? Not really. Like if the World Cup's on,
I'll watch that.
I'll definitely watch that. I definitely get into that. In the Olympics, they do Olympic. Yeah, there's Olympic soccer, isn't there?
I don't think so.
I thought there was.
Anyway,
Any kind of big matches I'll watch. I love watching highlights, like on ESPN here. They have some great highlights that they show. I appreciate the sport. They don't really televise it that much here. And I'll watch it if it comes on and, I'm flipping through and I see something. But I don't follow it. But what about you?
I'm kind of the same way. I played soccer up until high school, fairly competitive, actually. But yeah, I mean, it just, kind of, and that's a little bit of kind of trek in the U.S. a lot of times when it comes to soccer is you play it as a kid and then you go on and play, I was playing baseball and I was playing hockey and golf and yeah, you kind of just go do other things. But yeah, I like watching World Cup. I've watched a little bit of it. NBCSN has started showing the Champions League. I don't know. You guys who know are gonna know. I don't. But I've been showing that Premier League has been showing that on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I watched a little bit of that. But yeah, I mean, I have a tough time sitting down and watching a whole match.
Unless again it's for the World Cup, then I
The
really
World
get
Cup,
into
the World Cup, and when you can root for your country, I can definitely get into that. And
U.S. did pretty good in the last World Cup too.
They did, yeah. Oh, and speaking of watching stuff, there's going to be the Real World Daytona 24 is this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So I'm looking forward to watching that, even though in the U.S., Fox Sports makes it nearly impossible to watch because none of it's on Fox this year. It starts on Fox Sports 1. It goes to Fox Sports 2, which no one has, for like 4 hours. Then it goes online like through the night, which is probably the easiest way to watch it. And then it's back on Fox Sports 2 for like a bunch of hours, then it like ends the last couple hours on Fox Sports 1. So it makes it really hard to watch.
It does. It's BS that they do that. I mean, honestly, just stream it. I mean, maybe the beginning and the end on Fox Sports 1, and then why can't they just stream the middle of the race?
I know. It's racing here in the U.S. is becoming more and more difficult to watch. And it's like there's going to be a NASCAR race at Watkins Glen this summer. It's going to be aired on USA because the Olympics are going on. So NBC showing all their stuff and going to push NASCAR in USA. And it's going the wrong direction as far as racing coverage. Okay, good rant. Look at these questions that have been going in the meantime.
Oh, I got tons of questions here. Let me back up to some. Let's see what we got here. What cars do you drive in real life? We've talked about this a bunch on the show. I think Jan. I'm assuming it's Jan is how we say it here in the States, but you may say Jan, Jan. We've talked about this a bunch. I actually have 3 different cars. I have a 97 Z28 Camaro that I've hopped up a bit. Just recently, as a beater for driving around town, have a 2005 Saturn Ion, and then I have a 2005 Chevy Silverado. And then John, you have a Volkswagen GTI.
Yep, 2013 Mark 6 GTI.
So there you go.
Someone wrote, "Sorry for your Seahawks."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, gee, thanks. Whatever.
Hey, I still have one of my 5 teams going, the Panthers.
This guy, the playoffs are coming up, and he's like, I got 4 teams in the playoffs. I'm like, what do you mean?
When you live enough places, you can claim enough teams. So
I guess.
Seattle.
Hey, I used to live in LA, and I'm not going to be...
Well, I got no one to claim there.
You cut yourself.
Oh, I did cut myself.
John's bleeding on the table here.
I know where that was from.
Anyway, I'm from LA originally, and there's no way I'm going to be rooting for the Rams again. I'm Seahawks for life now, baby. I don't care where I move.
I keep cutting myself randomly around here. Well, I cut myself putting the BenQ monitors together, and then this.
Hey, I think you're lucky that you didn't cut your face. You know, the pretty musketeer face, man.
I know.
Your female fans would have been upset.
Can't break that.
Anyway, there's a Nigel Benton asks, "Hi guys, great show again. Thank you very much. Do you know if any of the Xbox One wheels you reviewed recently work with Xbox One streaming to a Windows 10 PC? I've heard that does not work. You know, you can stream Xbox One games to a Windows 10 PC and play from there. I've heard that does not work. So that, to answer your question, no. It'd be cool if it did. I mean, that'd be awesome. No. The answer, from what I understand, I haven't tried it, but the answer to that is a no.
I guess apparently there is Olympic soccer.
No way am I coming back to the Rams. No way. Man, they pissed me off when they moved out of LA. That used to be my team. I used to be a Raiders and a Rams fan because they were both in LA, and it was AFC, NFC. Rams moved to St. Louis. Georgia Frontieri, or whatever her name was, the owner of the Rams back then.
Damn it, I bled all my jeans.
And you better wrap that thing up.
Yeah, it's fine. I could root for them. I lived in St. Louis. Now I lost
6 teams now?
And I lost one of my teams.
Is that one of the 5?
That's one of them. 5 or 6? I don't remember. I can't keep track.
One of his 4 actually was going to the Super Bowl, so I'm assuming he's going to be rooting for Cam Newton.
Yes, I am. Because old man Manning's gonna
the sheriff
break a hip.
Hey, that ain't cool, man. He's younger than me.
Yeah, but you're not out there trying to play pro football.
No, I'm trying to play Parks and Rec volleyball, and it's killing me. All right, Joe Montana, Joe McDonald on jog. Oh, we already answered that about your phone.
Yep. I was trying to find the link on Amazon. I can't find it. Sorry about that. Hully
5223. I don't blame the team. I do blame the owners. But it was just hard to root for them all the way in St. Louis after they left. I mean, I was just pissed at the organization. And then when I moved up here, I was like, hey, I'm close to the Seahawks now. I think I'm going to start rooting for them. And I got lucky. They've been really good. Polar Gaming asks, I got the GTE rim for the T300, but want a new rim. Should I get the DSD adapter for an aftermarket rim or a Thrustmaster one? So it's great to have that DSD adapter. Speaking of which, we've got it sitting right over there, sitting there with the screws popping out of it. Now we got everything organized. It's like everything's in,
Yeah.
They got a Chevy logo on there because I was using this as a NASCAR rim. It's cool to have these, but you lose all your buttons. So if you can get some kind of button box functionality to use with this, or if you don't care about losing your buttons and you're just using your shifter and some button boxes, sure, it's great. But if you want to have the buttons and the paddle shifters attached, you should get a Thrustmaster rim. And I recommend that 599 Evo Alcantara rim.
Yes.
That thing's friggin' sweet.
That rim not only we always loved it from day one in terms of the Alcantara material and just the padding it has underneath it, but it has held up so well. I mean, I ran, 5 hours in the race and at least 5, 6, 7 hours in practice, probably about 5 hours leading up to the race, and I am wearing my gloves, but it still feels great. I mean, after the race, it felt a little more matted down. You can kind of
I didn't notice the difference because I was just driving.
Yeah, you didn't notice the difference.
I drove it today.
And if you slightly kind of comb through the fibers, it all pops back up, and it's like we have a lot of hours on that rim, and it has held up way better than all the other Alcantara rims around here, I think.
I ran with that Momo. It's a real Momo Mod 27, I think, 290 millimeter. That's what I ran for the 24 Hours of Daytona, and it doesn't. I mean, it's a nice rim, and it's holding up really well. But we've talked about how great that Alcantara feels on that Thrustmaster rim, and that Momo doesn't feel as good as the Thrustmaster.
Yes.
I was expecting to feel some wear after the 24, but John with his fancy ass gloves. I think, someone said I should get a pair of gloves, and I probably should if I want to make those rims last longer. And I paid over $200 for that freaking Momo. So, anyway, more questions. Thanks for asking questions. It really makes the show more interactive, and we love answering your guys' questions. And we get some great questions. What do you got?
Got one from B3WZ here. RaceRoom racing experience. Is it worth paying for? Car skins, new setups, etc. Need advice. I think RaceRoom is has turned into a very solid contender these days. I was telling Darren when he was testing the Nissan, wherever you're from, earlier today, that I've really enjoyed it. I've been running a fair amount of it, and yeah, the FR2 car. What else do I like to run there? I really like the DTM 2015 experience. I like, and the Audi TT Cup car.
Have you ever driven the old Audi IMSA? The four-wheel drive?
I think I've done it once. I gotta drive it more.
Oh, that thing is badass. And then I just drove that earlier in the show. Drove the Nissan 300ZX GTO car. That thing was awesome too.
Yeah.
RaceRoom is really, we talked about last week on the show. Someone says, what do you think was the best game of 2015, the best title? And we said Dirt Rally. Mm-hmm. I'd say most improved for 2015 and coming into 2016 is probably RaceRoom.
Yeah.
I'd say they've really made some great strides and improvements on making that more mainstream. Because when it first came out, RaceRoom was like, people were like, meh.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's really starting to get some great attention.
It has. I will say I'm not in love with their money way,
VRP?
The VRP of purchasing products and stuff like that. I do think to not spend a lot of money there, or a ridiculous amount, you do have to kind of like pick and choose what you want to race. The packs are really, going in and just buying like a DTM pack is a really strong way to go. And if you're into DTM cars or even the TT packs, but there are, they got TT, yeah, TT Cup. So they, but I like it. I think you just kind of got to pick and choose what car you want to drive, what tracks you want to drive, purchase those, and just kind of roll with that for a while.
Wim says that the IMSA Audi has the best sound of any in any sim. I agree with that 100%. That's actually, if we were going to do a top sim car list again, that car in general would probably be close to the top for me as far as top sim cars go. I really enjoyed driving that car. And then the sounds just put it over the top. Mm-hmm. So if we were to score it in different areas, that car is just friggin' awesome. Like the Rottenstein says, the grip in the Audi IMSA is awesome. It's an all-wheel drive car. That car frickin' dominated back in those days. So someone was asking about the AccuForce on RaceRoom. And I need to try it. I had RaceRoom running on that other system because I was running Sebastian Loeb on it. But I've heard people having great luck with it, and some people say they can't run it.
Yeah.
So I need to get that. That's one of the titles I need to get going on the AccuForce and see what's going on with it.
And then I just saw, asked a couple times, Kin Kula Jalao, man. Any tips to make the G920 work with RaceRoom? We gotta go revisit the G920 because from everything we tested it on the Xbox One, did a review back in the fall when it came out, like October, and then we haven't played it since because there weren't drivers out for the PC yet, so it wasn't possible. And
somebody commented earlier about it. You guys going to talk about the issues with the G920 on the PC?
Yeah, and it sounds like it's still not fixed. So I just saw the other day R Factor 2, Tim Wheatley put on Twitter that since Logitech hasn't come out of the driver yet, essentially, that they're going to do a workaround to get it to work on R Factor 2. So a review of that wheel will be forthcoming on the PC soon enough, even if this doesn't work. What the hell are you doing, Logitech?
Yeah, well,
because that is ridiculous.
Yep, it is. Back to Sebastian Loeb and the AccuForce not working on it. Holly Carb, Doug Holly. By the way, hi Doug. Met you in person a long time ago. His Fanatic would not work either. I've heard separate pedals. If you're running separate pedals, maybe try if you have a set of Club Sport or CSR Elites, try plugging into your Fanatic base and see if. Oh, anyway, what else we got here? Madaman 666. Ooh, he's possessed. Will you be reviewing the Renovatio SLI style? Because I've heard that separate pedals are not working. Display for Thrustmaster wheel hubs. That's new hardware from Ricmotech. what? I don't know why. Renovatio got in touch with us a few weeks back, asked if that we would like to review one of their new dashes, and they never frickin' got back to us. So anyway, we would love to review their new dash, and will if we.
Steve Montuno asked, John, why haven't you got the CSW V2 on your rig? Do you prefer the T300?
So.
Yeah, they gotta get back to us. Yeah, I thought for the 24 hours, I thought about maybe putting the V2 on my rig. We both ran the Club Sport V3s and liked that a lot, especially with that brake, that later brake kit, brake mod, whatever.
A later
that they still haven't come out with officially, I don't believe. So I thought about putting on the V2 wheelbase, but I like the T300.
You're comfortable and familiar with the T300.
I'm comfortable, and I really like running the 599 rim, and that is part of it. Like the rims right now we have for Fanatic, we have the CSP rim, which is 30 centimeters as well. It's CSP, right?
What?
That Fanatic rim?
CS. We got the box sitting right up there.
God, I'm drunk.
CSR.
CSR. Okay, I knew.
Man, my old eyes actually saw that.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, I know.
Or CSL.
CSL. That's it. CSL.
I didn't see it all that great.
CSL. I was saying it. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. The CSL rim. Have that on there, and that's not a bad rim, but I mean, for a long race, I want to have something I'm really comfortable with. I like the 599 rim a lot. It's a much better rim. I mean, that's a hard rubber rim on the CSL.
Well, what about the Forza Motorsport rim?
Well, the Forza Motorsport rim I like, but it's a really big diameter rim. It is. And what is it? I want to say like
320.
320. I think it's 320. So it's just a really big rim for running a Daytona prototype. And then we have the really small Momo. Then we have like the 27 or 270 millimeter Formula rim, and that's almost too small. So I pretty much just went with what I was most comfortable with. I like the T300. It has enough force feedback for me and smooth enough. And then I like the 599 rim, so that's why I ran that one.
This is a great question, and we're going to get to this in a minute. Rotten Steam, I just grabbed your question, but we'll get to it in a minute because we have some other ones ahead of you. Let's see here. Ali Osman. Darren, I've seen people use the old Logitech Momo rim on their G25s. Have you tried that? No, I haven't, but I've seen that as well. That would take some work, some rewiring and some stuff like that. I think it's a good idea. And next one here, I'm going to take the next one really quick. Orange J92. Darren and William. I don't think that guy was joking either. Why did they call you William? Anyway, any plan for reviewing the VR for sim racing and also maybe a phone tablet dash guide? Yes, we plan on reviewing. I've already done a DK2 review, which doesn't really count because that was a development, DK standing for development kit. So we definitely plan on reviewing the consumer version once it becomes available. We'd like to get in touch with them, see if they'll send us one for review. If not, maybe we'll just get our hands on one, and then if we like it, we'll keep it. If not, we'll sell it. But definitely. And then a phone tablet dash guide, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, we talked about... probably when I first got here, about doing an episode that was kind of about, like I was talking about my phone and Z1 dashboard and tablets and all sorts of different peripherals to like that. So, yeah, we need to get back to doing that.
Yep. You got some?
Yeah, let's see. Christopher Draper, how do I break it to my wife that I'm considering buying a T500? Any good advice? Flowers? But...
Or you could do it. Or you could do what our friend Scott Holmes did. He's got a separate credit card that he uses for sim racing purchases that the wife doesn't see.
Outed.
Well, I doubt Scott's wife's watching, but get a separate credit card that the wife doesn't know about, and funnel funds over into that credit card.
Besides terrible relationship advice, when it comes to actual wheel products, though, I would get a T300 over a T500.
I would too.
I don't even know. I don't even know where you can really get T500.
They're still available,
like at Rickmatech and places like that.
Yeah, and I think through Amazon they're still available. We can look it up really quick, but yeah, I think they're still available. But I think for the price,
just get a T300.
Get the T300, the 599 Integral kit, and you can get it for less. And it's newer technology. It's got the brushless motor. Comes with the 3-pedal set, which the pedals are better on the T500. Yeah, they still got the T500 on Amazon. $599.
So it's $600 for the T500, or it's $465, I believe, for the integral pack that we're talking about. And that is just a better way to go. I mean, I don't know. Driving them back to back, I prefer the T300. I think it's just a little bit smoother. T500 can probably get stronger force feedback.
Yeah, $469.99 for the Integral set.
Yeah, but I mean, getting that rim and stuff, I just go with that.
So that's $130 cheaper than the T500.
So that's how you help justify it.
Yeah, I got the least expensive one, honey.
Yeah.
So anyway, next question. Do we have any release dates? Any info on release dates for RaceRoom's new content like the Green Hill, Audi prototype, or Audi VLN? No, we don't. No. But that's another thing that they've told us that we can test drive when it's closer to being finished. So plan on having that on the show pretty soon.
Yep.
You got something?
Well, I caught one that Wim just asked there. Will there be a how to pretty much run on the oval tutorial sooner or later for us Europeans? I notice a lot of community members over here would like to race on some ovals, but are not familiar with the rules. Yeah, that would be something that we could probably do.
I talked to him about that. I thought him and I had a voice conversation. By the way, Wim, we need to catch up, have another voice conversation soon. Yeah, we should do something like that. You know, how to oval race.
Yeah.
You know, for actually Americans and Europeans, anybody that's never done it, people just assume it's driving in a circle and, oh, how difficult could that be? Honestly, to an extent, it's more difficult than road racing. Getting around a road course is harder for sure, in general.
Yeah.
But racing super close quarters, door to door, bumper to bumper, lap after lap is not easy.
No.
Dealing with the draft and all that kind of stuff, it's definitely.
I'm terrible at it now. I used to be a really good oval racer. It's what I did. And then I kind of transitioned more to just running on the roadside, and I try to jump in on the ovals like an iRacing, get my doors blown off. So yes.
Even on fixed stuff.
In fixed stuff, I'm getting killed.
Fixed, I went and ran the last year the IndyCar.
Well, the IndyCar I do a little
That's
better.
That's a different story. You're just flat out.
Yeah, the NASCAR though, I ran like a fixed Atlanta race last year and just was terrible. So
yeah, so there's the rules and all that stuff. That's what Wim's talking about, and then maybe we could do a live show on that. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to do a live show like that. But also, there's the whole racecraft that goes along with it. Bottom line, one of the biggest things is saving your tires. Not scrubbing your tires too much into the corner. And iRacing has really, stepped up their game as far as their tire model goes. So, anyway, you got to really save your tires. We found that out, figured that out in the 24 Hours of Daytona.
Yeah, 24 Hours of Daytona. The track slowed. Well, yeah, that's besides the point. But yes, tires. I had a stint. I think my third stint in the race. I went out there and I got in a pack of cars racing, and I locked up my tires, which was really easy to do in Daytona Prototype. Car was junk the rest of the run. Next run, I took care of them. I was turning really fast laps at the end of the run.
Yep, the ones that I took care of them too, I definitely noticed a difference.
Speaking of ovals, had a question earlier. I didn't save it. I just remember seeing it, asking any news on a new NASCAR title, and haven't heard anything. I mean, that last we heard was last year it was being taken over by someone, and I haven't heard anything since.
Oh, the Eutechnics?
Eutechnics or something. And
well, Eutechnics had it, and then...
it turned into something else. They created like a whole new name.
Right.
And I haven't heard anything. So, yeah, that's... Yeah, I mean, that kind of going back to earlier, I think that's kind of the lack of NASCAR yearly title for, like, at least the consoles is a bit of a sign of the times with real-world racing, especially here in the States. It's just not quite as popular, and they can't even justify getting a video game every year. So yeah, it's not very good.
I just don't think they have the following that stuff like Formula One has.
No, there isn't.
The Formula One has a following here in the States, and obviously everywhere else.
Yeah.
One of the biggest sports in the world.
Yes.
NASCAR does not.
In the world, it's number 1 soccer, number 2 F1.
Formula One. Yep.
So when you have that many people, you can come out with a title every year. Look at Codemasters.
I missed a question. Quaka asks, Darren, any chance of doing a video for setting up the Sim Instruments dash? I did a review on it and talked about it, but setting it up is pretty user-friendly. Their software is definitely easily adjustable. So I just recommend trial and error. A lot of the default settings work great, but you can adjust, all the LED or LCD display and all the LEDs, you can adjust what all of them do and change them. And so if it's available in the title that you're using, a particular function, it's mappable or changeable on that dash. That's one of my favorite dashes on the market, by the way. You got something?
Yeah. Hector Ramirez asked,
wait, before you get to that, someone reminded me. We'd appreciate a thumbs up on the video, by the way.
Yes.
If you haven't given us a thumbs up, please do. We really appreciate it.
It does help.
If you like the show. If you don't, then give us a thumbs down.
Give us a thumbs down. Hector Ramirez asked, what does the resolution on pedals mean? And this is another show that I really want to do.
He actually asked another question about pedals, too. Can Fanatic pedals work on the TX for the Xbox One?
Oh.
So go ahead and answer that question.
So, yes, that's a show I really want to do. And resolution, we call it steps. So if you have to imagine when you press a pedal down, if it creates almost like a graph. And it's a line graph, and it starts big, and then it works small. And the more resolution you have, the thinner those bar graphs are. So it means if you have the pedal, let's say if you have the pedal right here, you're pressing at 20%, and right here you're pressing the pedal at, let's say, 30%. Well, if you have a high resolution pedal, it knows that this location is 20 and this location is 30. If you have a low resolution pedal, it has a tough time differentiate the differences because it's not as accurate. So if this is 20%, a lower resolution pedal might be, this is 20% as well. It just doesn't pick up, it's not as accurate.
It's smoother in layman's terms and in basic terms.
Yeah.
The higher the resolution, the smoother your inputs are going to be.
Yeah, it's more accurately tracking your inputs.
Yes.
So yes, it's going to be smoother. So when you brake, it's going to be braking, at let's say 80%, 90% or whatever, wherever you're fluctuating the pedal. Where if it doesn't have as much resolution, it's more jerky. It's making large jumps.
Richard James just put 2 comments. Resolution equals report rate. So how that controller is reporting to the PC, and then he also said how many times it sends input to the computer.
Yes.
So the higher times, the more steps, again, the smoother it is.
Yeah. Now, at some point, I think there is a threshold where above a certain resolution, it doesn't really matter. You really can't tell a difference, and it becomes such minor increases, it doesn't matter. I would say the threshold, I think for me, I can tell the difference between 8-bit and 10-bit. That's what Thrustmaster runs, right?
Thrustmaster is 10-bit.
10-bit, yeah. And then Logitech pedals, the G pedals, are 8-bit.
And then the Fanatic Club Sport V3s are 12-bit.
12-bit. And I feel like I can definitely tell the difference between 8-bit and 10-bit. And between 10 and 12, maybe a little bit, but it's a lot harder. So I really think...
It's quadruple the resolution, though.
It is 8-bit to 12-bit is quadruple.
And so is 10-bit to...
10 to 12 is double.
No.
Is that quadruple?
Yeah, because it's 1024 to 4096.
It's to another square power. Okay, yeah.
4096 is 12-bit.
Okay, so gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Scott, our buddy Scott Holmes, who ran with us in the 24, just got his Club Sports yesterday. I didn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
And he installed them last night and drove some laps and sent me a Facebook message saying, man, I can break into the corners a lot better. And he's got a huge jump. He's going from 8-bit G27 256-bit or 10 or 8-bit 256 steps to 12-bit 4096 steps.
Yeah.
So that's a huge jump in smoothness.
Yeah.
In sensitivity.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on some other. Oh, and then to follow up your other question, Hector, Fanatic pedals will work on the TX, and I saw somebody answered you this, but I figured I'd do it on the show. With a Basher boards, go to basherboards.com. Actually, I'll put his name here in chat. Basherboards.com, and his CPX adapter. Now, as far as I know, he's behind on shipping. I think he's had 2 kids in the last couple years, so that's the only one I know of. Somebody else needs to come out with one of those, like a Bowden Solutions, Rick Motec.
Yes. I
think that would sell really well. Excuse me. I ate before we filmed, so I wouldn't be getting lightheaded. Got something? So I got a bunch.
Yeah, I got a bunch. But a Flying Dutchman just asked, "Do you guys know how to heel and toe?" Yeah, I know how to heel and toe. I don't do it a whole lot.
I'm better at it in my real car.
Are you?
Yeah. Have you done it in your car much?
I haven't done it in this car. When I had the M3, I used to do it because I had a bunch of back roads there in North Carolina to play on. But,
in my Camaro, I got really good at it. Doing track days and
I learned on my G27.
tearing up the canyons.
I learned on my G27.
Really?
I started there with the Mazda and iRacing, and that's where I learned how to do it. And then I jumped over to my M3.
I think where I mastered it, I used to have a Volkswagen Golf GTI, which is similar to your car, but much older. 86 was the year, and it was a stick, and I used to heel and toe the crap out of that. I had an 85 Camaro that was a stick. So, yeah, I can do it. I'm not the best at it, but I can definitely get it done. Holly Carb asked, Darren, what was the base on Frankenrig? So, actually, we can pull that up really quick again. Let's see here. Sim room. See if that starts the video. So that's the base he's talking about. Let me pause it here. So if you guys look there at the base of my rig, there's a white with the blue plexiglass. That was a Fanatic trade show base. So they had three Xbox 360s in there with surge protectors, sound system and stuff. And over the years, it's just evolved and been my base. I love using it for my base. As a matter of fact, we were going to tell you guys, but I decided not to, but now I will. We're getting a Sim Experience Stage 1 through 4 coming. So I'm going to have a Stage 4, and Frankenrig's going to be replaced. And I came down this last week, and I'm like, John, how about, you want that JCL? Look at that. John, you want the JCL to be faster? Because I'm going to have the Sim Experience Stage 4. And he's like, yeah! So,
don't mind.
Yeah, so that base is going to become John's if he wants it. But it's been awesome. It's really cool to have a base like that where you can put components and stuff and do all your wire routing. So if you have like a 5.1 surround sound system, I have a transducer in my seat that I have the wire coming up through the base. So that's been an awesome base. So back to braking, Wim, he's in the process of switching from left foot braking to right foot braking. Some funny results up until now. Wait, I thought you were switching from right foot braking to left foot braking. It's funny, we do a lot of videos, people say, you don't know how to drive, you're driving with your left foot braking. It's like, do F1 drivers, do kart racers right foot brake?
No. The last IndyCar driver to left foot brake was, or to right foot brake, I mean, was Dario Franchitti.
Right.
And they had to make special pedals because the Delara DW12 IndyCar, when it came out, it only had room for a gas and brake pedal, and there was nowhere to rest your left foot. So they had to do a custom thing so he could still brake with his right foot.
Interesting.
So I mean, it's a shame because I used to love watching the old footage of the footwork, of heel and toe and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of a lost art because now the transmissions, flappy paddles, even NASCAR, those guys now they just flip the throttle and jam it into gear on road courses.
Straight cut gears.
Because the transmission can handle it.
Yeah.
So it's a shame.
Doug, yes, that was the base that you ran at the open house, and I've had the human racing on that. So originally a Rennsport rig is what it came with, Fanatic Rennsport. Then I had a R-Seat Evo rig on it. Then I had the Human Racing chassis. Then I had a custom 80/20 rig on it. Now I have the JCL 2B Faster. And so you going to keep the base? We talked about it might be an issue because your monitor stand.
We'll see. I don't know yet. I mean, I wouldn't mind to be able to keep it, but we'll see what can be done with the monitors, since that's a very painful custom setup that I kind of got right now.
So we have let's actually get some other questions. Jessica Lopez. By the way, Jessica Lopez questions will be blocked because they go through our moderated automatic filter. So if you try to ask a Jessica Lopez comment and you see it's blocked, that's the reason why, because needless to say, we get some not so PG comments about Jessica.
No.
So anyway.
Gaming Force TV in Raleigh. I love Raleigh.
Me too.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh. I thought you were talking about rally racing.
Oh well, I should have cleared that up. But I do love Raleigh, North Carolina, and I love driving rally sims.
Peter Inzer, are there any products out there that support the 35-inch BenQs, or is the rig custom built?
The monitor stand is custom, but there are, we believe, a handful of stands out there that can. TrakRacer here, they have two monitor stands, and one of them is made to handle larger, more like TVs, I think like 45-inch or whatnot, and I think that might work for the BenQs, because at a 35-inch ultra wide, they're the same height as a normal 27-inch monitor, but clearly they're wider. So I'm not quite sure how it stacks up versus a traditional like TV size at 16:9. Something actually I've been planning on looking up. So I believe there are some monitor stands out there that can handle it, but there aren't many. It is a bit of a challenge.
Did you say SimSeats?
I didn't say SimSeats. SimSeats does, well,
they do custom.
They do custom, yeah.
sim-seats.com. Oops, I just deleted some comments here. If you go to sim-seats.com, they will do custom monitor stands for you. So, by the way, we have a sim racing, what's the word I was looking for? Celebrity in here.
Oh, Aussie Stig.
Aussie Stig has joined us. How you doing, Aussie Stig? Great review, by the way, on the AccuForce. And you want to know what the... someone was asking about the Sensation Pro. What do we think about the Sensation Pro, the play seat? I tried it at E3 a few years back, but they changed a little bit. Check out his review of it. And it's a great rig. Expensive, pricey, $2,000 that thing's going for. But
yeah.
I know he loves it. I've talked to him extensively about it. He loves that rig. So great to have you with us, Aussie Stig.
Had a couple questions here from Curb Searcher. Everybody asked. This is the fifth time he asked, so let's get to it. Will the inverted T3PA Pro
Curb
pedal...
Searcher, I like that.
It is. That's a good one. Will the inverted T3PA Pro pedals fix to the GT Omega rig?
It's a tough fit with that bar on it.
Yeah, that bar.
We got them up here.
Oh, is that where they're at? Can that bar come off?
Yes. There's a C-clip pin that you can take.
I wonder if he's saying that he's running them inverted, though. That's what it sounds like.
Is that was his question?
Well,
I thought I had that question. I pulled that question too.
Yeah, there is.
T3PA Pro's fixed to a GT Omega. That's what he asked. That's what I had.
Originally, yeah.
Yes, you have to pull off that bar though. There's a C-clip that you have to do it with. It's not easy, but it can come off. We're running long here as usual.
Yeah.
Not that anybody's complaining. Militia 1998. I want a real rig, but I've never used one. I don't know if it's worth the money. How about if you guys in chat answer that question? I mean, because if you show, actually here, let's show it again. Let's show the sim room for those that just came in. Look at our sim room here. Needless to say, we like rigs. So, yes, it's worth it. And you know what? If you can't afford one of the commercially built rigs and you're handy, build one yourself, because it really changes the experience. You know, my original rig was similar to the Deathmobile, and just going from actually the chair that you see on my rig in that video. And we've talked about my rig a bunch. I've had that seat since my original rig. Bought it from Jegs for like $150, but it really transforms sim racing.
Had a question. Apex V Gear, which we know from our forums, and I feel like someone else asked. Tim, yeah, I feel like someone else asked.
My turn for a drink.
This question as well. I don't remember where it was at. But asked, he just got a BenQ XR3501 like I have, and he's wondering if you could mount 2 standard 27-inch on each side.
I saw he asked us that question in our forums too.
Yeah,
in the private chat.
Yeah, and I believe I don't see any reason why you can't. And we talked about it because they match up pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
And someone I think maybe it was a comment in the BenQ review video that released last night. Someone said they were running that at 6400 by 1080.
Well, that's what he said. Tim said he was gonna.
But I feel like someone else also said. So
I don't know why you couldn't do it.
I don't know why you couldn't. You should be able to do it. I would think.
I would think so too.
Because thinking of the different sim racing titles and how they figure out triple screen, like I feel like iRacing you should be able to.
Wait a second, though.
Well, there's a different size. I know people out there run different size screens.
So like in iRacing, you're adjusting things based on the monitor width and the monitor width with bezels.
Yeah.
So your center monitor is not going to match up the same as your outside monitors. I would like to think it would work and it would be a much more affordable option.
Yes.
But I don't know.
I swear, maybe you just have to do a little more Google searching. I've seen forum posts of people who are running like a 32-inch center monitor and like a 26-inch side, like random numbers, and they've gotten to go across all 3 screens. So
it's probably possible.
I believe it can work, but I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I'm pretty sure it can work though.
So you got something?
Just a quick one. Dean Solomon asked, "Hey guys, what is a good budget curved monitor for gaming sim racing? 32 inches." I don't think there's such thing as a budget curved monitor right now. It's not there yet. They're all on the pricier side. You're gonna spend over $500 no matter what.
Someone said the input lag would be different. Not if they're the same, same refresh rate.
Yeah, same refresh rate.
My monitors, as your outside monitors, are the same refresh rate. They're all 144 hertz. So I don't see why there'd be input lag. Anyway, next question. Rotten Steam, have you ever considered streaming on Twitch or here on YouTube when you're racing? I've considered it, but as far as doing direct capture from the machine that I'm racing on, no, because I don't want it to affect my frame rates. Now, doing something like we're doing here over the shoulder, I would consider it, but racing for like the 24 hours of Daytona, we thought about doing that, but I didn't want to hurt our bandwidth.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to affect, because this can take a lot of bandwidth as far as doing a 1080 stream like this with a high bit rate, which we could lower it, but no, there's a lot of guys out there that do it, but and we've considered it, but we just haven't done it. That's a great question.
I mean, and following on to that, like I really did think about, it'd be cool to stream like the 24 hours live and stuff. Then I thought, what if this hurts performance and I crash because of it?
Exactly.
Or what if I crash? Or what if it becomes? There's already enough pressure on the situation, much less trying to do something live. And I mean, I don't know. I know there's a fair amount of guys out there who do it, and I know a fair amount of guys who do it to kind of be entertaining. They're driving, but they're talking the whole time and stuff like that. And I mean, you'll see in the documentary we're doing, we're both very focused.
Yes.
And at least when I made mistakes, there was loud cursing. So it's kind of like, it's very intense, and I would hate to do all that work to set something up and then have an issue and cause me to make a mistake because of it.
You know what? I'm curious. Someone says input lag has not much to do with refresh rates. That I don't agree with. The best monitors have 10 milliseconds, like the BenQ. So now there's refresh rate,
The refresh
and
rate.
there's latency.
Yes, latency. They're talking about latency. So how quick is the signal getting to your monitor and your computer? And then that's when you get like the 1 millisecond, 4 millisecond, 10 millisecond.
Well, he's talking 10 milliseconds and 27 milliseconds
That's
with
20
his 55-inch screen.
27 is a lot. I know these monitors are 4 millisecond, and I think
I think mine are like 1.
I think yours are 1 because you have a TN panel, so
Yeah.
they go faster. I read somewhere when I was looking at all this monitor stuff that if you're like under 8 or 10, you're fine. Like it's like the pedal resolution, you really can't tell a difference. So I think if the monitors are close, I don't think you're going to notice it. Especially when you're spending most of your time looking at the front monitor. Side monitors are really just for immersion and seeing people racing alongside of you.
Now, here's the thing, too. If those outside monitors were 60 hertz,
That would
it would
would all be 60.
NVIDIA Surround, it's going to lock them all to 60.
yes, no, they all need to be 144.
So that's a question that I'm really curious about, too. Is the latency more important or the refresh rate of the monitor? And maybe, see, we know the basics, but maybe somebody that's really super tech savvy here can tell us, what where the biggest difference lies. Because I truly believe it's going from a 60 hertz to a 120 or 144 hertz on the refresh rate makes a huge difference in input lag and just for me having a more fluid experience.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference in terms of it being more fluid on screen. Yes. Yeah, there was someone like I said even in the if you maybe you saw it or not, the BenQ piece that was released. It was released late last night, so it hasn't been out very long. Reviewed the triple monitors already. This was a single monitor review, and I said I think the monitor could be a replacement for triple screen setups, but if you have the money to go buy a quality triple setup, so I was saying I think you need to be 27-inch or higher, and it has to be 144 hertz. And someone said, well, you can go out or someone was like on the comments like, oh, I have a 60 hertz, it's fine, and it's like, no, 144 is life changing.
Yeah, and my response was, I would rather have your single 104, I'd rather have 127, 144 hertz monitor than 360 hertz 27-inch
Exactly,
monitors, or 24s or 20. And sure, I would much rather run in triples, but I'm telling you guys, this is just for me. Maybe it doesn't affect everybody. I mean, it does me. I know if you noticed a difference. Our friend Scott, we keep mentioning him. He just went from 60 hertz to 144 hertz. He noticed. He's like, man, it's a whole new world. It's like, man, he said, I feel like I'm cheating now. Because it's just, for me, it's just more fluid. It's more real time. And it's not that on 60 hertz, it's flickering or it's slowing down the frame rate. I noticed the difference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, and it's back to this conversation. Game Over had probably the best summation here. Good refresh rate makes image smoother. Low input lag makes the game more responsive. And that probably is the best way to sum it up. So they're both important.
Say that again?
Good refresh rate makes the image smoother. Low input lag makes the game more responsive.
So low input lag, so higher refresh rate.
They're two different things, though.
Well,
refresh rate deals with how smooth everything on the screen is, and the low input lag is how fast the signal comes from your computer and then it is shown on your monitor.
well, wait a second. But people say with the higher refresh rate, you get better or less input lag. So I look at input lag as when I'm inputting on the wheel, the input isn't happening at the same time on the screen.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
what I refer to as input lag, not the lag that's coming from the PC to the monitor. That's the latency.
That's the latency. Those are both they're both kind of one and the same. It's response. It's how fast things are communicating to one another.
So what if you have a high latency, like let's say 10 millisecond, or even 20, on 120 hertz refresh rate.
Then I think your issue is going to be you're not seeing things on the screen in real time.
Well, what does the refresh rate do?
Well, the refresh rate's
Who's on first?
Refresh rate's going to make everything look smoother.
Anyway,
maybe we'll eventually figure this out.
yeah. Let's everybody go to Linus Tech Tips right now. Yeah, let's get some more questions here because we're running long. I want to try to keep this under 2 hours.
Robert Erling had drive with adaptive VSync, problem solve, minimal lag. VSync causes delay though.
That causes input lag.
That causes input lag between your wheel and what's happening on screen. That's why we always say don't run VSync.
Marius has asked this question a few times. Hi, are you going to review the RaceRoom game seat? We have. Do a search on our channel and look for the RaceRoom game seat. We've reviewed it. It was a quality rig. I liked it. I'm going to try to blow through these questions. Ali Osman, do you think NASCAR 2003 is still a good offline oval sim, or has it fallen back?
It's probably the best option offline.
Yep. Arca Sim Racing was good, but it's getting a little dated. Didn't have all the cars and tracks. So NASCAR 2003 it was ahead of its time and still holds up to this day. And there's been some updates to it and stuff. I think you can get it for free now. It's like freeware. So anyway, there's a whole debate about this refresh rate thing going on now, which is great. Asked about the Sensation Pro. We already mentioned that. Do you prefer an SS drive for gaming or hard drive, standard hard drive?
I mean, the only difference it makes in gaming is just having it load faster. So I think the SSD helps for iRacing. Haven't really noticed a huge difference in like Project Cars from when I had it on the old hard drive. So
I noticed a difference in loading times. That's the biggest difference for me.
Billy Goat Boy asked, would the BenQ you reviewed work well on console? No, consoles are restrained to 60 hertz, so the 144 hertz you can't take advantage of. Also, the consoles don't scale to your resolution like PC sims do. So when I did run Forza 6 on the BenQ monitor, and it just stretched the screen, and to get it to not stretch, I had to run the black bars, so I was essentially running the standard 16 by 9, 1920 by 1080. So there are monitors out there that are console gaming monitors, and I'd look at that, since kind of what we're getting to, whatever it is, apparently, since we're all messed up. TVs, when you're driving on a TV, and we've seen it in our episodes, we'll turn the wheel, and then there'll be a delay, and then the on-screen wheel will turn. And the idea of a console monitor is that it reduces that delay time of a standard TV. So that's why having a monitor for a console is a good way to go, if you can.
Yeah, what he said. Hugo Stiglitz, welcome to the stream. Great to see you here, buddy. Someone was asking if I run 60 frames a second, is 144 hertz better than 60 hertz if you're running at 60 frames a second? If you're running at 60 frames a second, I don't even want to get into this conversation anymore because I'm just totally confused now.
In theory, if you're running at 60 frames per second, you know, running at 60 hertz is the way to go.
Because you're matching your frames, your refresh rate's matching your frames per second.
Because you're matching. The crazy thing is, like, you know, when I first got the 144 hertz monitors, I thought I really needed to run at 144. I ran down at 80 to 100, and it's still a very smooth experience. So
in the 24 hours of Daytona,
you were dipping
in certain sections because of the graphics setting that I had. Daytona at night with all the cars on and the lights and everything is taxing on a system, and I was dropping into the 90s at some points, and it didn't affect my driving. So anyway, I think we're gonna wrap things up. Any more questions before we go here, John, that you had? I think I covered every one that I pulled off. Oh, this is a comment that I wanted to also comment on. Hully5223 said, annual titles are a bad idea and consumers are sick of it. They just repackage the same thing year after year. I agree 100% with that.
What was that again? Oh,
annual titles are a bad idea, and consumers are sick of it. They just repackage the same thing every year. So
I agree.
What I think they should do, what I think would be cool if they did and transition to, every title pretty much is offering DLC for the most part. So like the F1 franchise, instead of coming out with F1 2015, F1 2016, why don't they just do a DLC pack, continue to update the game, and do it like an iRacing. iRacing doesn't come out with iRacing 2015, iRacing 2000. They just keep updating it every quarter and add new content.
The problem is, when you have that license, Formula One FIA wants to see commercials touting the new Formula One game.
They can tout the new DLC.
I know, but it just doesn't sell quite as well. I mean, you can say like a World of Warcraft. That's what they've done over the years. It's the same game that's constantly updated with these new packs, and that's what you see commercials of and marketing towards. So I guess they could, but I think that's why it's more on the
I think for the
marketing side.
consumer it would be great. For the developers, but you know what? You look at if you look at sales figures for titles like F1 2010 through 15, it's over time has dwindled. They're not getting the same amount of sales that they were getting from F1 2010. Maybe 11 was their peak. But anyway,
it's a solid wheel, Adam Kessler. I mean,
he's asked that about 20 times.
Yeah, the TM leather is a solid wheel. I think we both prefer the Alcantara rim since it's a 30 centimeter diameter and it's a little, just love the material. But no, TM 28 leather is a very solid wheel.
V-Twin Superbike Heaven. I used to have a V-Twin motorcycle. Hey guys, great show again. What's up with iRacing and GTA 970? Frame rate's not been good. It depends on your setup. If you're running triples. John ran his 970.
Was that iRacing?
Yeah.
Well, that was something we touched on. I think we talked about it last week, and it's come up again in the forums. That the 900 series cards just don't seem to be running very well with iRacing. And even like some of the 700 series, like what Darren has, seems to be running better. So I think that's an iRacing related thing. I know there was a big post yesterday from Tony saying how, kind of calming everyone down that they're working on stuff. And I know you suffer from some stuttering during the race.
I only did after one of my reboots late in the race. I didn't early on.
Yeah, which is really odd.
Yeah, I don't know if it was something that happened on my reboot or I don't know.
Yeah,
but
so
they're working on.
Yeah, they're working on. I mean, there's clearly some issues there, but I mean, they seem to be working on it.
I think that's gonna wrap it up. Somebody asked what cars we drive. We just Wayne, you must have missed it earlier. Actually, when the show's done, go rewind about halfway through Q&A, and we talk about what cars we drive, and we've mentioned it many times on the show. So anyway, should we wrap it up?
I think so.
So thank you for joining us again. Q&A is always fun and was definitely fun today. Hopefully you've enjoyed. John, you got to go wrap up your cut
it's
from
still,
our live unboxing.
It's still there. Thankfully, there was no Australian spiders in the box, as someone was asking.
Someone said that?
Yeah, someone was asking. My finger was still
Check the
attached.
label. Someone asked if we're curious where that came from. Maybe it's on the top flap there.
Here. Let's see. This came. I'll step out of the picture here.
Because I believe TrakRacer's got a U.S. distributor now. I think that's
This came from Huntington Beach, California.
Okay, so it looks like they do have those in the U.S. We'll talk about it more when we do our review of the TrakRacer. So anyway, going to wrap things up. We'd appreciate a thumbs up if you haven't given us one here on the show. And if you didn't like the show, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'd appreciate that too if you enjoy the show and want to see more content from us here at Inside Sim Racing. So for John Sable, I'm Darren Ganji. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you.